And that's the thing. If you don't have a strategic overview of how you use sound, then if the sound is good for the advert, then it's a good choice of sound. But I suppose you could counter all of this entire episode in terms of, like, is it a misconception, that you don't need to think about sound right now? In an ideal world, you don't need to think about sound right now because you already have a strategic overview.
Yeah.
You've already worked with a creative music agency who have said, this is how you sound, so that then when it comes to the visuals, you don't even need to think about it, because you can just be like, where's this ad fitting into our wider strategy? And then what part of our sound strategy helps support that to move it forward? Great. Here we go. Done. Sound is sorted. One less decision to make. Thank you. Hear me out. You're the best agency in the world.
But I think that's like probably the most likely scenario in terms of where we would like the industry to get to.
Yes,
but in terms of use case, the flip side to that is the conversation where there's more ambition around the sound leading the way of the campaign, such as the pot noodle we started the conversation with, or Coca-Cola, for example. Everyone knows the sound of a Coca-Cola. How much attention has been given into the quality of the recording of the Coke? I actually know for a fact that they over carbonize a Coke specifically for when they're recording like the sound of TV campaigns, because everyone knows it so well, but the way a microphone picks it up is very different to how the human ear picks it up. It's a very conscious whole process of making sure that Coke sounds in the adverts as like fizzy and delightful. Yeah, exactly. Because that is the sound of the product that makes everyone go, oh yeah, I fancy a Coke now on ice in the sunshine. Whatever your happy place is with Coke, it kind of comes down to the fizz, which is something we haven't really talked about on the podcast, which is product sounds. It's not one for this episode, but that is the level that brands go to. So how does the sound of a fizzy Coke lead that campaign? And they think about it. Yeah.
That's the interesting thing, is that sound isn't irrelevant, because there is a part of the conversation in a development of a product, or there should be, in the sound. Like, what was it? Was it you that was talking about the really loud crisp packet? I can't remember who it was, but it was basically a brand, and they came up with a new packaging that was all recyclable, etc. It was biodegradable. It wasn't Doritos, but it was somebody like that. And they just got endless complaints because the packaging was so noisy. So
it was something like the equivalent of a plane, not a plane taking off, but they said how many decibels it was. And it was like the equivalent of someone like shouting at you. Like, you couldn't have a conversation at the same time. It was that loud.
Which is interesting, because it's like they've thought about the environmental impact, but then it hasn't then influenced the sound of it. But, people are thinking of these things, in every term of engagement with the product. So the sound is considered, but then is it just because it's a different team that's doing it, and so they don't have the awareness of it? And, to your point with the director that I wanted to make, that is why having brand managers and CMOs that understand how they should sound, have been made aware that they can have a strategy around it, will then mean that they can help guide a director, to be like, it needs to fit within these realms. You can pick from these different aspects of our sonic strategy, but it's got to hit one or more.
Yeah. And some brands just have it on a plate. Excuse the pun, but like pot noodle, they quite literally have like such a distinct sound. When you think about it, it's like, oh my God, it's genius.